Quantity theory of money. The quantity theory of money was developed by the classical economists in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Theory of how nominal value of aggregate income is determined. The theory tells on how much money is held for a given amount of aggregate income. Also a theory of the demand for money. The most important features, it suggests that interest rates have no effect on the demand for money. The relationship between money and interest rate in the classical model. First, transaction. Money is used for transaction purposes only. Second, no effect. Money has no effect on the real interest rate, the neutrality of money, but on the general price level only. Third, change in money. Change in money would leave the levels of real economic activity, real income, and the real interest rate all unchanged. Fourth, prices. Money will affect prices based on the quantity theory of money. The classical theory on money demand. First, velocity of money and equation of exchange. 2. Quantity theory. 2. Quantity theory of money demand. Second, Cambridge approach to money approach.
Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Suhairi bin Ibrahim and I will explain about the Fisher's quantity of money demand. Let's begin with the introduction. The Fisher's quantity of money is the idea to examine the link between the total quantity of money, M, which is money of supply, and the total amount of spending on final goods and services produced on the economy. So here we are interested to know the relationship between quantity of money and other economic variables such as price and income. Fisher in his book, The Purchasing Power of Money, propounded the idea of quantity of money, which is also known as transaction approach because Fisher assumes that money works as a medium of exchange only. So here we are interested to know the effect of quantity of money on purchasing power on general price level. That is the idea of Fisher's theory. Now what is the theory? The theory says that other things remaining unchanged, as the quantity of money in circulation increase, the price level also increase in direct proportion and the value of money decrease and vice versa. So here you can see if the quantity of money circulation increase, the price level also increase in direct and proportion manner. The equation is MV equal to PY. So here, M is represent the amount of money in circulation or the money supply. V is velocity of money, which V is measures the frequency by which a unit of money is used across transaction in a given year or its velocity of circulation. P represent the economic price level for a given period of time, and last, Y is represent the real value of finished goods and services sold in a given year. So therefore, M is equal to PY upon V. Now, we are assume that V and Y are constant. We assume that velocity and income are constant and therefore changes in money cause direct and proportional changes in the price level, that is P. Let's take this example. If the quantity of money is double, the price level will also be double and the value of money half. Therefore, we have direct and proportional relationship between quantity of money and general price level. So here, if quantity of money is double, the price level will also be double. That is the idea of Fisher's quantity theory of money, shows the direct proportional relationship between the quantity of money and general price level. That's all for me. Thank you.
Cambridge approach to money demand. A group of classical economists in Cambridge, England, studying the same topic as Fisher, which is the demand for money. Approach differed significantly, although the analysis led to an equation identical to Fisher equation, which is MV equals to K times PY. The Cambridge economists asked how much money individuals would want to hold. The Cambridge approach did not rule out the effects of interest rate on the demand for money. Individuals are allowed some flexibility in their decision to hold money. not completely bound by institutional constraint, whether they can use credit card to make purchases. The classical Cambridge economists recognize two properties of money motivate people to want to hold it, which is one, medium of exchange, two, store of wealth. This is Cambridge approach. For a medium of exchange, people can use money to carry out transactions. Would be related to the level of transactions. Would be a transaction component of money demand proportional to nominal income. For store of wealth, the Cambridge economists suggest that the level of people wealth also affects the demand for money. Believe that the wealth component of money demand is proportional to nominal income. Express the demand for money as MD equals to K times PY. For MD equals to K times PY, MD represents money demand, K interest rate, P price level, and Y aggregate output or income. I will explain about the differences between Fisher's quantity theory of money and Cambridge approach. For Fisher's quantity theory of money, emphasize technology factors, viewed money primarily as a medium of exchange. K is stable, emphasize the demand for money, rule out any possible effect of interest rate on the demand for money in the short run. For Cambridge approach, emphasize individual choice, viewed money as a medium of exchange and a store of value. K is not necessarily stable, submerge the demand for money in the velocity concept. And the last one is did not rule out the effects of interest rate.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. I am Radhatul Amira binti Rosli from NBF 5B. Okay, I would like to present about Keynes' liquidity preference theory. Okay, John Maynard Keynes developed a theory of money demand that emphasized the importance of interest rate. This theory is actually an extension of the Cambridge approach, and under this theory, Keynes abandoned the velocity was a constant. Next, according to Keynes' theory of the demand for money, which he called the liquidity preference theory, asks the question, why do individuals hold money and what influences the individual decision? Okay, there are three motives behind the demand for money. The first one is transactionary motive, second is precautionary motive, and then the third one is a speculative motive. Okay, I'd like to present about transactionary motive first. Okay, following the classical economies, Keynes emphasized that individuals are assumed to hold money because it is a medium of exchange. Keynes emphasized that this component of the demand for money is determined primarily by the level of people's transaction. Keynes believed that these transactions were proportional to income. Next, it is positively determined by income. In addition, interest rate does not have any influence on the demand of money. Okay, the next point is a precautionary motive. According to Keynes, in addition to holding money to carry out current transactions, people hold money as a cushion against an unexpected need. Keynes believes that the amount of precautionary money balance people want to hold is determined primarily by the level of transaction that they expect to make in the future, and that these transactions are proportional to income. It is also interest rate does not have any influence on the demand of money. Okay, the last motive is a speculative motive. Okay, Keynes agreed with the classical Cambridge economists that money is a store of wealth. Wealth is tightly closely to income, so the speculative component of money demand would be related to income. Keynes divided the asset in two categories, money and bonds. Two components of bond is interest payment and expected return rate of capital gains. Next, Keynes assumed that individuals believe that interest rate move to some normal value. Okay, the next slide is putting the three motifs together. Okay, canons assume that people want to hold a certain amount of real money balance that related to history motive indicated to real income known as Y, interest rate known as I, canons demand for money equation known as liquidity preference function. Okay, as we can see in the slide, there is a money equation. Okay, minus sign below I means demand for real money balance is negatively related to the interest rates, while plus signs below Y means demand for real money balance and real income are positively related. Okay, in Kenneth's conclusion, demand for money is related not only to income but also to interest rate, major departure from Fisher but less from Cambridge. Next, demand for real money and interest rate should be negatively related by using the concept of opportunity cost. Liquidity preference function for velocity. First, Kenneth's theory of the demand for money implies shows that velocity is not constant but fluctuates with movement in interest rate. Next, there is a liquidity equation as you can see in the slides. Multiplying both sides of this equation by y and recognizing that MD can be replaced by M, they must be equal in money market equilibrium for velocity. In addition, demand for money is negatively related to interest rates. When interest rate goes up, quantity of money decline and velocity rises. A rise in interest rate encourages people to hold lower real money balance for a given level of income. Rates of turnover of money velocity must be higher. Okay, I have put two conclusions in these slides, which is conclusion for velocity. Okay, velocity will change as expectation about future normal level of interest rate change and unstable expectation about the future movement in normal interest rates can lead to instability of velocity. Next conclusion is for Keynes theory. It took the transaction and precautionary component of the demand for money to be proportional to income, but speculative motive would be negatively related to the level of interest rates. It is also indicates that velocity is not constant, but positively related to interest rate which fluctuates substantially. Okay, that's all. Thank you from me.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nurul Nasuha binti Shafaruddin. I will explain about Friedman's modern quantity theory of money. Friedman's modern quantity theory of money. Friedman holds the view that the quantity theory of money is a theory of demand for money. Friedman is partly Keynesian and partly non-Keynesian. He is non-Keynesian because Friedman completely ignores Keynes' classification of motive for holding money. He is Keynesian because Friedman generalizes Keynesian analysis of speculative demand for money by treating demand for money as a part of the theory of capital wealth. Second is the demand for money is same as the demand for a consumption services. Money is being printed as asset and money also something you want to have because we need money for consuming service and buying any particular goods either for wants or for needs. The next is demand for money must be influenced by the same factors that influence the demand for any asset. The theory of asset demand indicates that the demand for money should be function of the resources available to individual and the expected returns on other assets relative to the expected return on money. The fourth is cash balances are demanded because it yields services to the person who hold it. High demand because cash allows you to yield services which you want to enjoy. And the last one is Money is a type of capital goods which is held the services it provided. The services and other particular goods which you want to enjoy by having money so that you could have an exchange from money to any other goods or services. This is the formula of the demand for money. The demand for an asset is positively related to wealth. Thus, money demand is positively related to Friedman's wealth concept. Permanent income has much smaller short-run fluctuation because many movements of income are momentary. For example, in a business cycle expansion, income increases rapidly, but because some of this increase is temporary, average long-run income does not change very much. Hence, in a boom, permanent income rises much less than income. During a recession, much of the income decline is transitory and average long-run income falls less than income. One implication of Friedman's use of the concept of permanent income as a determinant of the demand for money is that the demand of the money will not fluctuate much with business cycle movement. Friedman assumed that the individual can hold wealth in other forms of asset other than money. There are namely bonds, equity, and goods. The incentive of holding this asset rather than money are represented by expected return on each of these assets relative to the expected return on money. The expected return on money, which appears in 3 items, is influenced by 2 factors: the services provided by banks on deposit included in the money supply, the interest payment on money balance. Similarities of Friedman and Keynesian theories. Both of these economists will agree that people choose to hold money and analyze a specific motive for holding money. Friedman's theory of the demand for money used similar approach to Keynes' theory. The pro-cyclical movement of velocity are predictable and yielding a quantity theory that money is the primary determinant of aggregate spending. Each theory recognizes that people want to hold a certain amount of real money balances, the quantity of money of real terms. These are the differences between the Friedman's theory versus Keynes' theory. Friedman's theory states that money and goods are substitutes, so changes in quantity of money have direct effect on aggregate spending, while for Keynes' theory, money and goods are not viewed as substitutes. Other than that, money is held for a variety of different purposes which determine the total value of asset, while for Keynes' theory, money is active, transaction and precautionary motive. Other than that, other is speculative motive for holding money. For Friedman theory, money is same as asset or capital good, which serve a temporary abode of purchasing power. While for Keynes' theory, money is just a demand deposit. Last but not least, monetary disturbance directly affect prices and production of all types of goods. While for the Keynes theory, monetary changes will directly affect economic activity through bond prices and interest rate.